League of Legends has a huge problem about the ADC's mid lane.
ADCs are ruining the game, and Riot needs to do something about it. In this video, I will be going through what exactly is going on, how to possibly fix it, and what some high elo people think about the whole situation. If you've been playing League of Legends solo queue even once in the past few months, you know that there's this scary boogie monster lurking in almost every single game, turning
Yeah, it's like every game you see like 5 or 6 ADCs, it's crazy.
your League of Legends experience into an unfun torture chamber, especially if you play mid lane. And the name of that boogie monster is ADC. So, how did this actually happen? Why are there...
Actually, I'm curious how this happened. I just know this is the case, but I never knew how it happened. Why are suddenly people playing ADCs mid and top all the time? It's so weird. Like, what the hell is going on?
literally up to 6 ADCs in all of the games. Let me explain. ADCs in mid lane, or any other lane for that matter, aren't a new concept. Some ADCs have been a huge counterpick to multiple champions in mid and top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Vayne top, we are used to it. It's fine.
Probably the most popular one was Tristana in mid lane into Kassadin, since Tristana has way better early game, more range, and makes his passive useless, making his life a living hell for 30 minutes. And of course, everybody's favorite top laner to lane against, Vayne. That probably was a Vietnam flashback to a lot of top laners. They were annoying for sure to play against, but they weren't the most popular picks, since a lot of champions countered them as well, and they weren't your
like you could just counter.
traditional solo laners. So, how did we get here? How did we get from having a Vayne top lane 1 out of like 100 games into having 6 ADCs in every single game? Because ADC players have realized that playing their characters mid and top helps them become the late game carries their champions are way faster and safer. But
I think I know why. 2 reasons, right? First of all, bot lane you share XP. So it's like, I'm just chilling bot lane, doing fine, I'm winning over my lane opponent, and I'm level 9. Mid game begins, I go mid lane, and the mid laner is level 12. I'm bit swah, huh? So I'm winning my lane, and I'm 3 levels behind the other people. Like, excuse me, huh? Is that weird? That's so annoying, right? And besides that, getting higher levels, you stay like alone on lane, so you can control everything much better, right? You can outrange a lot of enemies mid and top as well, and it's like you don't have to rely on random support every single game, and because you know when you play DC or support, you have to adapt to what your friend is doing on bot lane, right? If you play DC, you need to play along with your support. See where they are, stay parallel to them, right? Trade together with them. And doing that, especially with no voice chat, it's so difficult, right? So if you go solo lane and you have a good peak and you can stay safe, especially mid lane, because the lane is way shorter, it's way easier to go next to your turret, so you're safer, right? Harder to gank. It's like, it's much better. You have so much more control compared to bot lane, where you mess up once, your support gets tilted, goodbye. Game's over, right? They leave you. No?
lane is a duo lane, where you share XP and sometimes gold. You potentially have a possibility to get 2 kills from time to time, which would make you more fit than playing in mid lane. But that's the issue. This doesn't always happen. Playing ADCs in mid lane...
And like, gold is not the biggest thing. It's not that important. Like, getting that sort of XP is so huge. It's insane, honestly.
Is way safer because you are playing against a singular character. You get more XP and hit your power spike way faster, which then means you are way stronger than you would have ever been in bot lane, even if your KDA
Okay, let's play.
would be the same. And now you might be saying, oh, ADC needs a support, they are going to get camped and fucked in the ass by the other mid laners and junglers. Wrong. That's why you only see just a few different ADCs in mid lane. The most popular ones...
True, you can play like Tristana mid, you have W to escape. You can play Lucian mid, he has E to escape. You can play Kai'Sa, she has E for turbo speed, and then level 6 she has the insane ultimate to escape. It's so good.
Currently are Lucian, Kai'Sa, Ezreal, and Tristana. Although Tristana already got nerfed to the deepest pits of hell for this exact reason. The reason why these specific ADCs can be played in mid lane or even top lane is because they can peel themselves. Lucian and Ezreal can E away from danger, Tristana can jump away with W, and Kai'Sa gains movement speed and can go invisible. And because of that level advantage...
I mean, that's on later, not early game.
They get from being...
Queen is a sleeper pick, maybe.
In a solo lane, they aren't as squishy as their bot lane counterparts. And the best part, these picks sometimes even completely counter the other laner, since they weren't designed to be played in a lane against these champions. This is especially true in top lane, where you can pick either Vayne or Varus and make the enemy team tank top laner wish they were never born. Of course, these ADCs do have their own counters, but this also brings a new problem to the equation. God damn, I'm using fancy words. Because ADCs are now played in literally every
that was a clean ult.
single lane. How the fuck do you know before the game who are you gonna play against?
Oh my god, he banned so many pro plays, crazy. What I don't like about this is the fact that, like, when you play an ADC like Jinx, like me for example, right? And you see your top laner picks Vayne and your mid laner picks Ezreal, right? It's like, how am I supposed to play Jinx when I have no front line in my team? I just cannot. So this meta is really bad for me. I say ADC meta, but no. It's ADC meta that has mobility, right? But hyperscalers are suffering because of this. It's a bit sad for me, but oh well, you know, meta changes, we gotta adapt.
Against. You're not! If the enemy team picks 3 ADCs, they can literally flex these characters wherever they want, and the enemy team can do nothing about it. This is especially problematic.
But it's only pro play, right? It won't happen solo queue.
In a competitive environment where flex picks are a huge strategy. Flex picks aren't usually a bad thing and make the watching experience quite fun with some crazy picks, but when they are
like the rel jungle, rel support is really fun to see.
Are fucking 4 to 6 of them on default in every single game, and they're all ADCs, that is a problem. So, ADCs are better mid laners and top laners because they get their power spikes easier and faster. How does it affect solo queue and the competitive environment, and what could Riot possibly do about it to fix it? I asked
well, make it so bot lane ADCs, right? When you play ADC bot lane and your support has the support item, right? They don't steal XP from you. They get reduced XP because they are support, they're not supposed to be that strong. So they still kind of share XP, get less. But you as an ADC, you get normal solo lane XP. And that way, people will be happier on bot lane ADCs, right? And then you just nerf the ones that are being abused mid or top, right? Or just nerf whatever strategy are using, or who knows what, right? Riot can figure it out. But the biggest problem, like what's making them so strong here, is like, hey, look, they get solo XP, it's OP, right? Suddenly ADCs get solo XP, they're overpowered, you know? Because that's how they've been balanced. So another thing you could do, make it so, like, XP in general, people get less XP in general, maybe, I don't know, right? I have no idea how to balance the game properly, right? But it's like, it's hard to balance when ADCs on mid or top are OP, and then if you play them bot lane, they are weak. How the hell do you balance that? Next patch, they want to nerf Doranblade. That's a direct nerf to Jinx, and she's not being played mid or top, right? It's sad. It's really sad, honestly.
A few of my fellow high elo players their feelings about this whole ADC fiesta and their solutions to it, because they know more about the situation than I do, since I'm playing in Mickey Mouse parking lot elo.
I mean, what do you mean? Isn't that high elo? That's pretty good. What do you mean? If you're diamond, you should be proud of yourself. What do you mean? That's really good, bro. What the hell?
So you guys can flame me in the comments about misinformation. Macro, the Orange God. ADCs make melee champions useless to pick. So half the roster is just unplayable.
Yep.
For top laners...
And also, if people don't play melees, hyperscalers again, they become weaker. Because they don't have the burst to deal with this range bullshit. They rely on range and kiting to do well, but if enemies have the same range... sad.
It's the most unfun, uninteractive gameplay, and there's nothing you can do if enemy has range because they just outspace and outscale you. They win early, mid and late game at all time.
I feel like in this video is gonna mention something about like ADCs still, I know, thinking tanks are OP and so on, right? But it's like tanks are not having fun right now because they cannot lane. Hyperscalers on bot are not having fun because they don't have a good team comp because they have ADCs top lane, right? So this is a problem for like everyone. Like everybody hates this. It's like we gotta fix this, man.
And they have a better spike with their tier 2 boots. Nothing wins versus Berserk Rush. I had a game with Spirit Jungle, Smolder mid, Gnar top, and Kaisa bot. We got hard stomped.
Oh my god.
FF15. Yeah, guys, this is what I'm talking about when they can just flex pick wherever the fuck they want. And I also asked Macro what he would do to solve
here we
the
go.
situation.
I want to see how they fix this. Like, we gotta fix this. Come on.
And he said, yeah, I can show that in the video. But yeah, he also said they probably need to nerf fleet. Mr. Azap, the Zap,
They nerfed a lot of things already. Right.
was a geometry nerd. ADCs are kinda busted right now. That is why 14.15 nerfs fleet, boots, and some ADC items. They are too good because the entire precision tree is bonkers. Like 8 out of 10 people will use precision in high elo, just supports generally won't. Fleet and Giga Sustain runes make you immune in lane, so you can Varus Lucian top mid easily. Soak up all the poke and mages are while you are piss chilling getting spikes.
Also, even mages are feeling bad about this meta, right? It just ruins everybody's experience. It's crazy.
Items are strong and offer counterplay versus pretty much everything. Also, because of crops, the map and movements on the map are more dynamic, which favors lane bullies, prio lanes, and safe characters, which ADCs are. Mages usually have no safety, while most ADCs do. So the suggested solution would be...
Yeah, it's like, you know, you have ADCs with mobility and you have ADCs like Jinx, right? Jinx and Vel'Koz, you could say, are similar. Why? Because they have no mobility, they rely on range, right? That's it. They have Lucian, like he's more of a bruiser fighter in a way, right? So they have dominance, especially because void grabs exist, they spawn early, right?
Be nerfing ADC items and runes, which already happened, but it looks like it wasn't enough. Draktar, the best Ezreal in the US. Bro, this man made a whole ass thesis about the situation because he was super passionate about it, and that's cool as
really? Jeez.
hell. He wanted to explain why the situation is fundamentally breaking League of Legends itself. So if you have ADHD like I do, you better put this bitch in 2x speed.
Oh my god, no, I don't know.
Elo solo queue, already known for its volatile nature, has found itself in the most chaotic meta of many years.
I agree with this. Right now the meta is the most unfun it's been for a while. Like, it's kind of so stale, so boring. Like, same peaks, go ADCs, wow. And too much damage in the game. Like, fights end in 10 seconds maximum. If that, 7 seconds most of the time, I would say. Max 5. Like, too much. But I want tag meta back. Come on, I want to see bruisers. I want to see team comps where you have one damage dealer, the ADC, you play around the ADC. He's your glass cannon squishy. He's the only one supposed to deal damage. Other people are supposed to support. Then you have a frontliner, a weird flex pick like a mid laner mage that also deals damage. It's like, that's it. Not 3 ADCs, then they pick support pike to deal damage, and the jungler is like middle. Bro, like, it's just one shot meta again. It's so sad. Why is it sad? Well, for assassins, for example, they are happy. Yeah, it was one shot. Let's go, kill or be killed. But if you play Jinx, right? I can't even get my press attack 3 stacks most of the time because I'm dead. Because I just get one shot. You know, like, it's so bad. It's annoying. They gotta change something. Let's keep going here.
Marksmen are fundamentally the main character champions. These are champions which requires resources, attention, and utility around them to make function. In more traditional metas, drafts have much more harmony and clear win conditions to play around.
Yeah, like, the way I see League is, or like the ADC role in general, right? You have your frontliner, right? Like, everybody has a role. That's how I see League. It's supposed to be a team game. But because solo queue makes us play so selfish, right? It's not really the case, but usually you have a tank. That guy is not supposed to build damage, supposed to build full tank. Then you have a support that's supposed to build a utility only, right? Then you have a jungler supposed to play around his teammates and so on, right? And then the ADC role is supposed to only buy damage and no defensive. And then you have other champions in his team, like his middle, maybe his support, maybe, right? That are supposed to peel that. They're supposed to play around the damage dealer, right? It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. If your damage dealer is alive, you win the fight because you just killed all the enemies. If your damage dealer is dead, you don't have damage anymore. That's a traditional team comp, right? It makes a lot of sense to play like that. But solo queue, again, changes how people see the game. So Everybody wants to make a difference to win, right? Because it's more impactful to play an ADC mid and win rather than playing something to help your bot lane ADC win, right? That's how it goes.
For example, a CC tank top, skirmishing jungler, mage mid, marksman utility, engage support. In a comp like this, each player has a very clearly defined role within the game, with macro and teamfights playing out within the realm of expectation. This is the League of Legends we all know and love. The issue with ADC meta, however,
that's what I want. I want this to be like every game. I want that.
Is that when everyone has the same role of wanting to be the main character, the game begins to break down at a fundamental.
Because I think, for example, in Overwatch, right, a tank can only be a tank. You can't pick a damage dealer in the tank role, right? So imagine in mid lane you couldn't pick an ADC. Just imagine, right? I don't think that would be good. I think that would ruin the game for a lot of people. I really don't want Riot to do that. You should pick whatever you want in whatever role. I think that's nicer for the game. That's how weird things and weird picks get invented all the time. But when this happens, it's really bad. It's hard to balance the game, right?
Level. It begins in Champion Select, where almost every single ADC champion is seemingly flexed into every role, leading to poor drafting decisions. Sari got locked in. Is it mid? Top? Is it ADC? This puts solo laners in an awkward position as they don't want to pick melee champions that can be abused by range in lane, so they too blind their own ADC. And suddenly you end up with a draft of 5 squishy ranged champions that leaves many holes in your comp. And I think this is the reason why all of the mid lane ADC characters actually have a pretty low win rate. Due to the chaotic nature of solo queue and the lack of coordination, one of the ADCs almost always ends up inting. As mentioned before, ADCs are generally the main character champions. They want to be played around, and of course not every lane can be played around at once.
Also
and so,
true.
The ADC that gets neglected ends up running it down. You then...
Yeah, and that's so true actually. But I find most of the time it's the bot lane ADC, right? Because they're the weakest compared to mid lane or top lane ADCs that have higher levels, right?
Find that games are decided by who has the biggest...
and also like wander lane because they have the range advantage, right? In a 1v1.
A comprehensive team victory loss. Outside of the outcomes, the game also just becomes very difficult and uncomfortable to play. When everybody is the main character, each player becomes very selfish, taking waves from each other, waiting for each other to face check so they can enter and contest space.
Yeah, this thing about face checking, right? As an ADC you don't have face check. You've got to have a Braum that can face check, right? But you don't have that because everybody's playing ADC. Bit sad. Not much can be done. You can't control objectives, you can't do much. You just rely on winning every lane and stomping the game in 15 minutes and hoping enemies are tilted and FF. And yeah, it's a bit sad.
Bro, I find this the funniest fact about this whole situation. Fundamentally, League of Legends is becoming worse because ADC egos are too big. Let's say you have 3 ADCs and the enemy has a single fed Kha'Zix. You have to enter a fog of war to contest a spawning dragon. Who goes first? This would be okay if support and jungle fulfilled those roles. However, if you have 3 ADCs, you need magic damage on the team, which is currently taken by the jungler, and then all that's left is support. And the final game-breaking part of the ADC meta is matchmaking. Since this is a newly developed meta, there are many players with varying levels of experience on playing ADC champions in their solo lanes. You can end up with first-time Sari top into a season challenger Varus top player, and the game will just be over before it even begins. But if the problem is ADCs having too big of an ego and a main character syndrome, what can Riot actually do about it? The primary issue that found ADCs dominating every role to begin with is due to the fact that they basically do kinda everything. They take prior early in lanes, they can fight objectives early, they scale harder, they do more damage to objectives, they have more consistent, reliable DPS. How do you even attack this issue? Well, fundamentally, ADC's weakness should lie in the early game.
Yeah, but that's true if you look at bot lane. Because you have the engage from your support, or like the range from your support and so on. But in solo lanes, if you get outranged, yeah, what's your weakness anyway? It's not much of a weakness anymore, right?
They should be able to get rolled over by strong solo laners before they scale to their role's designed strength, which is late game. which is why this issue is so difficult to solve, as solo queue games are generally decided quite early, and this leaves the role with an almost paradoxical issue.
Yeah, but also like I feel like a lot of people misinterpret like the ADC in a way, because when you think about ADC, and that's how I enjoy playing the game, I'm weak early game, I'm strong late game, right? Because I play Jinx, of course, right? But then you have a champ like Lucian mid, well, that's not really true anymore. He wants to stomp, right? So, yeah, crazy, right? ADC is not just ADC. It's many, many things together. You have the hyper carries, you have the casters, you have like the engage ones, the aggressive ones, the early game ones, right? It's just so many.
ADCs have zero agency early and only supposed to be strong late game, but solo queue games are usually decided before the late game. Why would anybody have fun playing this role?
True.
This is the core gameplay loop that ADC mains have been whining about for years, and to fix that issue, Riot decided to make their early game presence and laning much stronger than ever before.
Big mistake. I think that's a big mistake that Riot just did. Right? Because look what happened now, right? ADCs are too strong early game, and mid and top, they're just too strong because solo lane and stuff, right? And that's where we are now. Instead of making ADC stronger early game, how about we make everybody else a bit weaker early game? I think that would have been a bit better, right? Yeah, it's more work to do to balance everything around ADCs, but it would have been better than this. Like, look at this. 5 ADCs in every game.
Fleet, footwork, and absorb life. ADC items now having 25% crit, the durability patch, these are all changes designed to give ADCs more agency and strength in the early game. Sadly for true ADC mains, the solution to this would be to pull back on their early game agency and nerf some of the changes which Riot have already started working on in the latest patch. So I genuinely believe this is an issue that has already been tackled, but funnily enough, the players punished the most are traditional ADCs.
There we go. Exactly what I just said, right? Exactly. They nerf mid and top ADCs, so now the traditional ADC players like myself that received buffs because the role was bad, now are gonna suffer again. You know?
So I guess rest in peace ADC role. But I'm definitely much happier as ADC myself to be slightly weaker in strength, as long as I don't have to see an ADC in every other lane, and ADCs in bot lane truly get their identity back as the main character.
I agree with that, right? I just hate seeing ADC everywhere because I'm supposed to outrange them, but then if everybody plays ADC, like I can't really outrange that many people anymore.
Of the game. So there you have it. Riot has already tried to fix this issue by nerfing boots, runes, and some of the champions, because the biggest issue was sustain and early power for the ADCs in these lanes. But this will 100% not be the last time we hear about this issue, since people will try to find new ways to go past these nerfs by using different ADCs or trying new builds. Bro, they even buffed Varus last patch.
Oh boy, really?
It's like, bro, that's gonna be a nightmare for top laners.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But Riot has still finally realized how big of a problem this is, and they're most likely gonna tackle it even more and hopefully find better ways to make bot lane ADC actually
we've got to do something about
character. So now that that's done, I just hope there isn't gonna be any other meta-defying thing happening anytime soon, because oh boy, ranked has been a fiesta recently.
Ooh,
hopefully it isn't about ranged laners again, because man, I would hate to play against those. It happened.
What is that? Oops, I clicked. What is that? Oh my god. A good video. I'll share you the link if this guy I like. I mean, this guy, he's dumb. He's way bigger than me when it comes to content creation. He makes really cool videos. I'm glad I watched this. Yeah, he has really fair points. Same with Ragnar, that he wrote the article, right? Fair points, honestly. I've got to do something about the meta. Something has to change. This is not good. This cannot continue. Gotta change something. For sure. Gotta change something. This is too much.